All right, week 5, Carolina Panthers against Detroit Lions. Detroit is favored by 9 points. At this point in time, I'm going to take uh, Detroit with that. When you go through and you look at the data, it's pretty clear to see why. The big thing is Carolina is really struggling to find an offense at all. And then when you go down here and you look at these numbers, the only place where Detroit isn't doing really well is their offensive rush. And with that, it's like, okay, 19. That's not great. It's not horrible. It's not the worst in the league. It also kind of depends on how they're using their rush. But that notwithstanding, they're a pretty solid team, and their record pretty much reflects as much too. They lost one game over here to Seattle, and in what I recall was a close game. That notwithstanding, you just always have to remember how close in the NFL these teams are matched up. So the model is showing uh, about a 20-point difference here. When you come down to it, uh, is it's going to revise it downward and say, nah, it's going to be a closer game than that. That notwithstanding, you have a pretty darn good Detroit Lions team. I know it sounds weird to hear that, and anyone who is a Detroit fan are all nodding their head up and down, saying, "Yeah, I hear you. You guys are the greatest fans in the world, yet you've had to endure some really bad teams across pretty much most of your sporting teams for quite a while. So I'm sure you're watching with a great deal of hope and anxiety as this Detroit Lions team has really been performing well. And last year, at the end of the year, I think they won like the last 7 or 8 in a row, something like those lines. They did really well at the end of the year last year. Just took them a while to find themselves, and they did not lose it. So then let's go to the next slide. So when we go to the next slide here, you can see this just overall balanced attack. Jared Goff has been solid. Unlike with the Rams, they really found how to make Jared Goff tick. He knows what he's looking for. He's protecting the ball. He's getting some explosive. I think that the key to their game is uh, consistency, fundamental football. They're not trying to take too many deep shots. They're not putting their quarterback in a position where he's going to be pursued all over the field as much. They're letting their overall uh, uh, offense and defense really kind of work together with that. And then when we come down here with Carolina, again, they've got a young quarterback who I think has missed a couple of games with injury, Bryce Young. So he's young. He's going to struggle. Then you got some issues protecting him. Overall, you got to admit that he's protecting the ball pretty good, so that's good. But they have no explosiveness whatsoever. Uh, Detroit has considerably more turnovers, but that notwithstanding, uh, uh, all in all, um, the just the balanced approach with just enough explosiveness seems to be keeping Detroit really playing well. So anyhow, I'm going to take Detroit in this case, particularly, and we'll see how the line moves. Um, it is a pretty big point spread. And again, I also encourage everyone look at the data that I've presented here. You might have a different interpretation. It's entirely possible. So remember, this data is derived from head-to-head matchups with this year's performance using Monte Carlo simulation. So these are going to tend to be. I try and present the totality of the data. That's how you can see that here. And so again, take what you've seen with your eyes, take your interpretation, and you might very well use this data and come to a different conclusion. And I'd love to hear how people are using that. So if you like what you listen to, like and subscribe, drop me a note, and have a good one.